Hello everyone once again. Today will be the day when I show you how I'm working with cursor and agentic coding. It's specifically my story and it's kind of different from yours. I have specific setup for myself. I have a lot of ideas in my mind, so it's not always applicable for you directly, but I will explain to you my approach to do the stuff. So first thing first, I do have multiple documentations, and first thing it's for me it's Figma. I create the visualization first, and then from that I understand where I should move on, and I'm trying to keep up in sync to have components to be there, named the same way, so it's easier for me to keep track on what is already implemented, what is not, and what the next step are. So the other thing that I do use most of the time, it's a Google document. It's a long read, it's 58 pages. It has a lot of information, a lot of things to research, to check the code. For example, this GitHub repositories I just copied to my folder. We will look them shortly. So a lot of ideas when I have sleepless nights, I can roll down something, some notes. When I see something cool, animation, I can save it, etc., explaining it, how it actually working, how. So a lot of efforts put into that document. Also, the third document for myself, I'm using just a spreadsheet where I can have nice tables, maybe some calculation when I'm doing some checks. And yeah, I spent a lot of time reorganizing, thinking how it will be the best to display some information on 2D screen plane. So a lot of things need to be overlooked, and I've spent a lot of time with that, but probably heavy lifting for me will be done with the new possibilities of LLM. Yeah, previously I haven't used those, but these two guys helped me a lot, but it's even not worth to mention. And the third thing that's really drive where I'm looking at, it's visual things. So I have, for example, my folder with all my cool animation that I would like to have, maybe reproduce those in some sort of form. So yeah, I keep them with me together. So this is my mood board, so I can refer to it, and it sits here just because I can give to the via IDEA UI, I can refer to specific file. The next thing we will look into today, it's also obviously the source of truth. Yeah, Wikipedia maybe not the best one, but that's what I'm using. And I'm worth to mention, I want to use some backtracker, but I even have one chosen linear. I like it a lot. It's just a cool and nice, and I feel that a lot of efforts were put into that tool, but I'm not reutilizing it a lot. So as you can see, in the cursor itself, you can see that I have plenty of other directories with my actual project is sitting here. That's because at some point of time I can probably choose someone's code, some project. It can be written in different language. It can be, but it has some cool ideas there. I just grab that file and refer to it. So I can just say use this main.rs file to grab some function from it and recreate in the TypeScript, for example, that I have. So yeah, that's why there maybe even previous my iteration, it's vibe coding prototype from probably Firebase or Lovable. I'm not quite even remember which tool did I use previously, but yeah, there are also some sort of ideas and benefit that I can take it from there. Then I have here the terminal also sitting in the IDEA. I never understood it, why use terminal inside IDEA when you have this trusty terminal, which I still use. I'm using it to check my gits, what the status. And yeah, related to Git, I do use two repositories. One of it's GitLab. It's just a choice because it has private repositories, and the second is GitHub, because you will see next why I have it added, because Cursor have a collaboration with GitHub in order to make a background agent running. We will see it shortly. So yeah, as you can see, as origin I'm using GitLab, and GitHub sitting there also, and yeah, I'm pushing the changes to the both of them and grab changes from the GitLab when they come. I'm not quite using different feature branches, throwing everything into main, because I'm at the phase of the application when it's got like an initial phase. So maybe later in the future, when it become more complicated, I will think to use different branches. Right now I'm sitting in the main. And as you can see, I also put in all my notes of how I'm gonna make tickets overall and roll down those in the text document. So basically we are currently working with language models, and they are heavily connected with the characters and text. So for doing so, I'm using I'm keeping my high-level task at this folder. At some point I mark those as done with a green text, that some of the tickets are done. I mark someone as grayed out, like decided not to do or something. So yeah, high-level tickets are here. Then I'm using text file, as I said, and when I have time, when the agent is running and I'm navigating around, when I find something not good in the code, I can easily add a to-do somewhere. So for example, I don't like this font size 16 used here, and I'm asked it to rework the colors and rework the font size here to use tokens. We will see it also shortly. So yeah, that's how I drop the to-dos there, and eventually they will be fixed. And we will look into the visual type of tickets and functional type of tickets. Those are different, but they are taking around 50% both. And if we wanna move fast, we can make only functional tickets. But the way how it looks not will be as it was intended. So yeah, I've kind of have my own statistic. I spend half of my development time on make things look better, but maybe it's only me. So yeah, I do now know why we need a terminal here, and to let IDEA and throw this information directly into LLM. Some error logs that will be shown in separately in the console. I immediately can reference without copy pasting this text itself, so that even easier. So let's maybe do it here, not the Git. I wanna what I want. Yeah, I want to run storybook. Oh, come on. Okay, interesting. And immediately, as you can see, it says add to chat. Some bug seems to be appeared with my running my, and as you can see, it says terminal selection line 1 to 12, and now I can maybe ask, yes, fix the storybook, and yeah, if I need to put heavy text, it's worth to mention in order to shorten my spending time on writing, talking with IDEA is it's faster, because right now you see obviously LLM is type approve, but I need to go and fix all my mistakes with Grammarly, and yeah, to not look that I don't know the language, which I actually not quite know. So I heavily use this tiny bitsy cool thing that's called Whisper Flow. Actually, it's good. It's even they emphasize the fact that they working with vibe coding, when you just press and start speak to the system, and that's come in handy. I even so here I'm talking to it previously, and I did enter here my own wordings dictionary, I mean, to call those. If I talking UI button, it immediately will understand that I'm referencing to this variable name or component name actually, and it immediately implement it with less mistakes, because it can hear my voice not perfectly and make a more disturbance than help. So if you want to try this, it will work like a charm on the desktop application when you use your mic, but I've tried to install it on the phone too, but it adds extra keyboard, so I didn't like how it works on the phone. At the phone you can type when you're already late at night under the blanket to not disturb anyone in your surroundings. And again, if you want, I can send to you my invite link, so I'll get some free months. I even consider to pay for this tool. I'm pretty sure at some point of time we will have that built into the operational system, but now we live in the world when everyone creates the wrapper for LLMs to make it life of people easier. Okay, let's run it, and while it's doing, as you saw, I created new chat. I often do that because it's really important to keep up with this number, with this percentage of context. If it reach like 90%, it start repackaging the what it was said before, all the added images, I'll add the text, I'll add the text. So don't sit in one chat and work on different part of the application. Better to dedicate one tab of the chat on specific feature and not refer that we are currently dealing with that feature and continuously working and explaining to the LLM what we wanted to achieve. Okay, do we work? Infinite loading, super duper. I don't like it, we need to fix it. Yeah, I also don't use my main browser for testing purposes. For that I'm using another browser for the projects. Okay, does it work? It seems to be working. Yeah. Okay, we can probably continue, right? Alrighty then. It seems to fix it, and I even can close this tab because I no longer need it and I no longer need you. Let's open it again. So clean and fresh start. I like it. What else? You can be smaller. So let's see how complicated task can be done. Last time I've showed to you probably, so my goal right now for the atomic elements to display them correctly in the periodic table. Right now, when I change my card size to bigger one, as you can see, it only tells me the number of that element, but not the amount of protons and neutrons that I want to see there. So my expectation is to look something like wrong direction, this one, somewhat like that. So this is my goal. For the hydrogen we have atomic mass 1 proton, 0 neutrons, etc, etc. Natri, for example, is 23 total mass, and 11, it's number 11 because the amount of proton it has, and 12 neutrons. And in actual real periodic table, we do have mass shown in ml. So as you can see, Natri has 22.9898 in period, and it's somewhat approximate amount of mass of natrium in the universe, based on how rarely often we can find this natri in the universe with that number. So there could be some isotope 22 with 11 neutrons. So that's what we gonna work today. And let's start with visual part, and I'm already prepared the text for the LM to work with. And let me drop it immediately to not spend too much time on that. So I use my voiceover. Sometimes if I use, for example, let's try UI card. Yeah, as you can see, it didn't add this quotation mark to mark this part of the code, but it could easily understand it with double quotas or maybe with single quotas, or even without them. So I don't bother to spend too much time on fixing my text to be perfect. And here, as you can see, I'm immediately already referencing to specific file, periodic table component, and I do have with my components, on each component I do have story, so they are in sync, this folder of components. And this pagination periodic table blocks, somehow it's added the word blocks because I worked with SPDF blocks, and that's how it used to be, but it's really easy nowadays to refactor it, to change the name to be the way how you preferred name by the name convention. So my current requirements to put an amount of pretrons and neutrons in the corner. So as you can see right now, they are not there. It's only there. Where is mine? So yeah, ferrum is 26. It's only the number of the element, not its particular amount of protons. Yeah, and we have this version and that version of the periodic table. When I choose it, it changes the number and move around. It's fine. That's what I want from it. And let's run it and see how fast it will execute it. Here I'm asking to use also UI title wrapper. It's another component. So I'm trying to reuse all of those. And really important part, it's keep naming thing same way, because if you refer to the one particular part of your application with different names, it eventually will bite you in the ass, because eventually you could potentially have two almost identical files, or it will struggle to understand you to which part you refer, and it will be maybe hard to merge these two distinguishable names for this particular terminology you have used. So be consistent and naming thing, even with when you work with people also. So mostly it's a visual thing. I'm asking to use paddings here and there, and asking to use tokens. So tokens is interesting part of the application. It sits here for me. I've already shown it, but let me do it once again. So my tokens, it's a list of variables for the application, so I can control them from one place and then spread to other elements of application. So I have the size of the circles, size of the cards, some width of the tab element. Then it's converted into the CSS variables, and those CSS variables are used here. Then I have a script that creates from tokens TypeScript token CSS, not vice versa, and these tokens can be actually generated based on the Figma plugin, which called Token Studio for Figma. So you can have your source of truth sitting even in higher level of hierarchy, and when the new token file comes from the designer, you just replace it here, and doesn't touch any visual part, which developers don't often like to do, and just it will immediately be applied, and so the designer will be in control of how the front end looking through the Figma file, and that's cool, I think. Okay, if we follow the right side, it's already working in agentic mode, which differed this IDEA from other. For example, in Visual Studio, I can't write my code until it will be done, and here I can add one extra details that I wanna mention there. I don't know, what could it be? I've already explained it enough. Maybe. So while I'm sitting, looking, sometimes reading, sometimes not, I'm sometimes switch my mode into YOLO when I accept everything that is done, because later on for me it's easier to change something that existing and refer to particular DOM element in the HTML, or maybe a particular line in the code that I don't like, that I want to rewrite. So for me, maybe I'm wrong with that approach. It's easier to accept and then go from that point. And so I rarely undo these changes that it suggests, so we can start reviewing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this change because I'm trying to minimize amount of things that I do with my tokens, but let's keep it for now. Whoa, it's wrong place to keep atomic mass, definitely, but I can accept it and immediately put a comment there that I wanna move this, and as you can see, it's even after complete my wishes. I'm saying to him what I want to do with this part of block, and at game constant data.ts script file I have information about so we in the right place, but I wanna it to sit inside my big object of periodic elements. Here's my periodic elements. Maybe it's not the best way of storing data right now, but I'm fine with it. It's good enough. It will be my obligation to change it to something else. And here I even have information about how it looks and how it simulates. So the physics is separate from the rendering. Okay, and now I heard the beep audio. I configured the cursor to get notification when it's finished. Complete sound. By default it's turned off. I don't know why. By the way, while we're sitting here, okay, let's if it's finished, then it's finished. Let's see what we get from that changes. We can review every single place where it's changed, but for me it's easier to go and look what exactly I've got. Okay, I think it's almost there. What I want from him right now, make the this title to be left aligned and to take full width. That's what I wanna go say to him. And the issue is currently the amount of total sum of that elements kind of overlapping with this title. And this is a two thing that we're gonna tell him. He will create for himself two to-dos with circles, and we'll fix them shortly. Okay, that's what I'm gonna keep accept all the changes that I've made. It's good to do them one by one in order to not miss anything, but as I said, sometimes I'm just accept all, and from that point jump to next explanation. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm looking to my component name. Sometimes I'm forgetting how those call it. I want to see something behind of this text. It's called UI title wrapper. Okay, I've been able to sneak it. Please change UI title wrapper to be align left and take full width of the card. The card is 83 pixel wide by default. And here, as you can see, I need sometimes to change this component name because probably I haven't added those to my audio library. I'm trying to fix all errors with red, with trusty Grammarly in order to be grammatically correct. I sometimes add this thing when I'm fancy and sometimes not. And second thing, we can ask it, note that the sum, no, that's not a sum, yeah, it's a sum of protons and neutrons sitting at the top left corner, but it's overlapped with UI title wrapper. The UI title wrapper is 23 pixel height, which means this sum should be shown below it. Doing the trick with naming component name, and I think it's fine to call it multiple times like that. I could even kind of find it here in the components, it's in the text, and drop it like so, but it's pointless. It will understand me anyway, so I need to be more correct with what I'm asking, not specifically connecting all the lines. He will figure out, he's smart enough. And also I maybe wanna drop some context, so it's not gonna use it. Okay, it's automatically added here, this document, and I slap it, go. Maybe we can be less polite to not burn too much electricity with extra words and being direct. Sometimes I can add bullet list when I wanna emphasize the fact that there are two subtickets there, and I call it go. So that was easy change visual. That's how I work with agentic mode. But right now added the new feature, which is called planning, and most of the planning right now I'm doing through the plan mode, which is sitting here. We can ask about the code, which is also easy. We can select part of the code. Maybe what I wanna ask. Okay, I can ask why this switch can't be shorter. Okay, I hear the voice. Why this switch can't be shorter? Why I need default when I'm only definitely has in my option items normal and disabled something selected anyway. There are no way of not throwing the card state here. I'm doing the ask thingy first time. Let's drop it there. Okay, I've heard the audio and let's see what we got. Now this is correct position, but I see the issue. It has some sort of padding left 6 pixel, and that's why it can't fully occupy its place. We will fix that soon. Okay. Okay, if it's here recommend, then I can stick to it. Sometimes it's suggestion, should I change it here, and from here I can say to him move on, and he will, in agentic mode again, will implement something. But let's call this tab. Oh, nice, water report. Perfect. Let's call it again. The UI title wrapper alignment not fully done yet. It has some 6 pixel margin left. Let's check it to make sure. Oh, it's even have padding 6. Okay, I can tell him what the padding is actually. Atomic name top. For what was the class? Where was here? The class was atomic name top. Make UI title wrapper truly occupy 100% width. Also, it means second subticket, but let's give it a try. I think it should be a quick fix for that, and we'll see it done shortly. Okay, while it's doing its stuff, we can jump into the next one. But in planning mode, the complexity of this ticket, I think, is easy. It's a new component. The new component that we don't yet have, it will make, instead of okay, I see it still not taking full width for me. Oh, come on, it's become even worse. Why so? Y position absolute. Okay, I see. Oh, I just can go and put there width. Come on, width 83. Will that do the trick? Background color white. Yeah, that's what I want. And maybe, oh, that's what padding is for. Padding left 6 pixels. Now it's working. Weird. Let's add all this into atomic name top, and I will fix it later. For now it will at least look good. Interestingly, it's even create a changelog.md file for that functionality. Yeah, I haven't showed it to you, but it seems to be start making to every single request or feature its own MD file that you can refer after. So it's like creating voice text annotation of what we actually want system works, and it keeps this documentation after the fact that it's use this text as a prompt and create the code, and using this artifact, text artifact, to explain how system works on human language is really important. Just imagine if we wrote some code on Java, then generate a binary for it, and then kept the binary, put it into the Git repository, and throw away our Java code. That's what we often do with our documentation. It sits in the Jira or in the maybe Slack channels and the text, and that's where the most important information are stored. So let's look into this case. Let me drop it here for now and forget about it. keep all. Let's see at the structure and close maybe all those documents that we don't need yet. So you see at the very top level hierarchy I have a hidden folder with rules in it, and it's storing my MDC rules for that. Here I have some information for that specific project, and I do have other configuration in the memory. It sits here, and rules, for example, I want to keep interesting, I don't remember writing this rule. So this rules is applied to my profile, and this rules only applied for the local project that's sitting here. For example, I have here the rules keep files under 500 lines. It's not me who wrote this rule before, but I'm cool with it. I left it there, just copy paste it from here. There are good ideas here and there. For example, I don't want emoji in my answers, and when we ask GPT-5, it's always constantly throw emojis all over the places, so that's why I'm asking to not do that. Then higher in hierarchy I have this doc folder. As you can see, it's full of empty files. This cookbook is the first file that I've started working with. It's just, I won't say it's enormous, just 500 with some explanation how, you see how small amount of components I had at the very beginning. I started with 4, now I already have much more. It didn't update it since then, but if you look into the other elements, and they create these empty files, and with these new requirements of what we gonna create, and I will tell you what we're gonna create. We will gonna make this thing. It's a periodic table, but look at a little bit different when the one element is mentioned multiple times with all possible isotopes of it, and it's really long, and as you can see, for me to write down it manually, it will be a nightmare, and that's what the LLMs come in handy. They can do this heavy lifting, so they create an enormous big JSON object in order to fill all this. Yes, they can maybe make a mistake, so do I when I do all this manually, and just imagine how much time it will, for me, it will take to fill all this information, even with maybe smarter way with copy pasting thing, and just have to increase all the time and compare with actual original source of information. And I consider current planning task as simple. Yeah, it's also have a gap above 2 pixels. Oh, I don't like it. What? Where? Name top. Remove this top. No, top 0. Don't mind me. Okay, let's plan some work. So I've described my feature that I wanna create UI isotope table based on already existing particle isotope data. I will it's to create this data next to the other data files I have in the docs. In the library, yeah. Data sits in the library. So we have atomic data, we have quantum data, and now we have, it's related to atoms, but I decided to separate atoms from isotopes. They are the same thing. Maybe later on I will refactor it and join them together in some enormous table, but let's see what we got after it will work for me. And I'm asking and referencing to periodic table blocks that I already have and I'm happy with. I'm saying that I also gonna actually we're gonna display micro, square cards, then small and mid, 3 different sizes. Then I remind him that there are only 7 different hydrogens, started from hydrogen 1 and finishing with hydrogen 7. Same applies for the helium 3 and helium 10, so there are no helium 2. And I'm telling him this fact, so he knows, he might be know, and I'm also might let him use not the computer browser but the web browser. He doesn't need the computer browser to look at, and I just slap it for the plan, and now it syncs a little bit harder. Actually, I always haven't remind that you can switch different models, but I haven't seen any difference from them. Sometimes they saying that, oh, we reached limit on that model, use after, but I'm already at after what I'm saying, so I need to rerun my request, but I'm fine with it. So we shortly will see the new MD file for that specific feature called for the isotope table component, I meant to say UI isotope table component. And I already referenced to it that we have similar functionality at other places, like I showed it to here, right? So we can control it like so, and my expectation from it, oh, it's already finished, let's look what it has, and my expectation from it to be shown like that. Specifically right now I have no version of my particles to be displayed with protons and neutrons. I can do it later. Here is the shorter version and here is the shortest version for the paginator. Actually it's going to be done. Okay, nothing pops here yet because we didn't ask it to build it. Now he started asking me questions. So those questions could be smart sometimes, and what I often do, I'm routing it like that. Question 1, answer. I prefer to be like that, and then start reading. So what did it ask me? Stop add data source. Yes, for sure. Then actually I can go briefly to what we're gonna answer. Axis direction controls. Do you mean protons and neutrons? Should the disturbing controls allow swap XY? Yeah. Reverse direction. Left to right, left to left. Not exactly. Or maybe yeah. Left to right, right to left. Top to bottom with bottom to top. Yeah, I like the B. And third is yeah. I mentioned there will be some gaps. For example, here. It's not always element has those shown in the line. For example, we have this element 262 and 264, but there are no 263 if we look it into the actual Wikit table, and that's what it asked me on the question number 3. So what should I answer to him? Be empty. I'm pretty sure it should be empty. But let's read what the other option is. No. how could I skip it? What the different from that? I think C is the wrong option. Half-light decay display. No, I don't want to display it yet. I didn't figure out how should I do that. Tooltip. Nah, tooltip for debugging. Yeah, that's what Wikipedia does. I don't decide how it should be. No. For the I have custom option, no information about decaying. I haven't decided yet. Just store that info and not display. Okay, fixing typos here and there. Fifth one. What it asks us. Yeah, column 1 and row 0. It's intentional. Okay, let's call it. It could start with same column 1, row 1, but for the helium, it's not the helium, it was hydrogen. There are no neutrons at all. That's why row could be 0 or column could be 0, depending on the how we start and name our XY axis. Okay, I'm not gonna fix the typos, just throw it to him. After first round of questions, it's often start to create MD file, but it can be another round of question when it still has concerns. I really like this approach when it's trying to cover my butt and not do it immediately, but ask smart question first. So yeah, here we have some new MD file starting appearing in front of our eyes. Set of properties, symbol, mass number, protons. Yeah, you know what? I often add into the isotope properties the primary ID in integer number, so I can use it later on as pk to choose an index. And I wanna, in my UI, I wanna user let use downwards and right side, so it's like a moving in the grid. So I probably need an ID for each of these squares. Oh, actually, I can mention that interesting feature that stable are filled in, but it's probably filled in that's allowed and outline it's not allowed. Yeah, that's what the rule. Don't mind me. Yeah, I have some internal thoughts that could be usable. Yeah, it's just repeat everything that we wrote here, but maybe in more fashioned way, just in the markdown file. So I wrote it as 2 sentences and he put it like a bullet list. Yeah, bullet list may be easier to read, and if he understands it better, I don't mind. Yeah, I would say it, put it nicer, rapid. I not always honestly read the plan. As I said, for me it's easier to already start from the point when we already have something in our hands and modify it from there. So I won't gonna read every single line of it. Sometimes I do when I'm in the mood, sometimes I'm not. Prefix element symbol seems to be correct. example. Okay, it's good that it has example. We can put here more examples, like checking here AM 331 is not existing. It's better to have multiple examples, not only one example, because it can still think that won't see the pattern. But when he have more examples of what positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, then it's will be more sure of what to do. What you don't like with this highlight? Okay, let's add there. And he created for himself 4 to-dos, and I can hit build here, or I can hit build there. I'm not using the hotkeys yet, I'm not that quick, but in theory you can become much faster with how you deal with these all systems. Okay, while it's running, I'll show you other nice feature that I found, and the reason why I do have my GitHub account configured. So here I have and my profile logged in the browser, so it's definitely in the web, not on my computer, right? And what I can do, I can create an agent that works in the background on the GitHub server, or maybe not exactly on their GitHub server, but yeah, here's what I wanna recreate. I wanna recreate this kind of functionality of pulse. You see there are pulsation in background, and I wanna have it as a radiation effect for my UI circles that I'm having inside my cards. So that's what I've explained to it, and I can attach that particular image. Give oh, actually it's called image, and I call it how I call it, yeah, pulse particle radiation give. Okay, let's redo that. Oh, actually it's called this. Weird, it's renamed on the fly. I didn't expect that. Okay, maybe I'll put in the bracket image 1. So this background type of task, maybe not touch it, working extremely slow, and sometimes they fall off, so it's not 100% guarantee that it will be executed, but I'll give it a try. So I'm asking it to deal with put information about radiation, of which elements are radioactive, in the atomic data TypeScript file with inside my array of atomic objects that I showed to you previously. Let me show it to you once again. Oh yeah, we have isotope data. So cool to see it's running. So I suggest to him keep here some information about radiation, and it can take from the internet information which elements are radioactive. Here in the table, for example, obviously uranium is radioactive, so do plutonium, and it turns out the rarest element that humankind made, and it's not appears in nature at all, it's called technetium. That's why it's called, get its name, because it's made by man kind. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with my third way of working with the cursor. It's a background task. Just imagine you sitting in the kitchen, I don't know where, whenever you go, and wrote what you wanna make with your current repository and with particular branch there. So let's run it. And it start doing its stuff, showing me 3 dots. It will wrote some text, but it won't be so precise as it doing it here. Yeah, with this plan mode, you see it's working a little bit slower. Maybe task is big, but I consider this task is not difficult. We will have next plan mode task, which will be really hard, and I'm not even sure will it make it or not. So yeah, we can see how it's burned my tokens, and it's really fast. Start using context, it's already 19, but I think we will manage to not overrun this up to 90 to make it compress all this chat for us. So it do it automatically, and we can use some they call it functions. I'm not gonna lie, you can intentionally run with slash commands. Yeah, it's called commands. Like they summarize. I can do it right now, but I don't need, because it didn't reach already 25. Okay, we're doing. So I can see here still his own internal to-dos. I can create directly this one, so it's only for him, but I can cancel it. If I click it, it will strike through and not gonna make it. And obviously I can stop it, but I'm not gonna. And I just, while it's working, I can look and observe what he is doing there. Oh, he has scientific notation. What? Maybe that's gonna be hard to parse. I don't like it. I will prefer 22 zeros. Or maybe I don't. We can ask him how better to store this type of information. Oh, he says he's done. And you know what? I'll keep everything. I'll just go and look what we got. So, did we got? Yeah, it's a top table. Obviously it's not working. What we gonna do? We will ask to fix it. Storybook default page for the UI is a top table. Throw me this error. Not here. And I'll just send it to him. He still have the initial plan for this functionality in his context, so he know what we're saying here, but I still prefer to refer exactly that I'm talking to the storybook, not about the component itself. I'm saying which exactly page there. Default page always, and sometimes some extra. What the nurse this means? That's how it catch my audio, but he will understand based on what the context I sent to him, what exactly his storybook's not happy about. And it seems to be this one to-dos is not exactly fully completed. Weird. But it said to me that it's done. Sometimes you need to click I accept at this point of time in order to him to proceed further, but I'm not sure actually right now what's there. So let's check. No. Is it different from previous? Axis orientation. I think it's something new. What was the previous? Yeah, it has did like its top properties. Same storybook default page. Throw me error. And while it's fixing, I'll go and look into the details. is table false. At least it use my rules of naming with at least 2 words. Maybe that's not optimal way of storing this data, but I can live with it for now. Oh, yeah, it's configured. It's wrong. It's wrong. It could be like that. Organism should have much more isotopes, I guess. Let's check what we have here. Oh no, actually organism has 1, but this LV with that livermontium. How much? 6 livermontium. Omission here. What we can do, we can add to chat livermontium has 6 isotopes and you haven't added them into a table. Can you please check which other atoms you have missed? Yeah, seems to be a lot of them are missed. There are some region of it's called island of stability around uranium. But yeah, uranium, how much do we have them? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 98, somewhat like that. For example, we need to check uranium, where the other neptunium, plutonium. It's only 4 of them. Huh. I didn't submit it. Let's give it a hint to do. Nine isotopes for uranium. You have missed that. Check the wiki page and okay, yes, I'm changing it. Oh, let's start adding those. Okay, I'm keeping them all. And I can refer to the particular link of nuclease. Where I've been led to him uranium, yeah, here. Sooner or later I'll fix that, but let's check how we dealing with isotope table. Is it good? Is it scrollable? Where the content, is it there? No, it's default. Oh, now we're talking. Yeah, probably the issue is the data themselves. So finding the data is easier part than just creating it. You see, I even can select it and it highlighted here. I think I can call it decent work if we consider how small amount of time we spent on it. Yeah, it's look like it's doing its part. Okay, I keep it right now like so. I'm not gonna mess with it for now. With this functionality we can go to the actually let's check how our background tasks are going. Yeah, it's going to make it really slow. So it's deploying, doing some stuff, trying to figure out. It's the interesting part. And also, just pops in my head. You understand that we can do that for the phone too. Let's try to run it on the phone. So let me switch movie recording. No, not that what I want. Yeah. Are we doing? Yeah. Please. Okay, camera, yes. Screen. I want to demonstrate screen. Can you do it for me? Come on, you should work. Weird, it can take camera, but it can't take... No camera in Orga. Maybe I asking too much. Anyway. No, even no face camera. Okay, you're not gonna see me until the end of the call because I'm recording. Yeah, so my point was I can make some simple task like I've dropped before, like this. So I consider it simple. So I could open the same URL, cursor.com /agents, and ask him this simple question, request. What I often do, I just ask find to do at the code and execute one. In this particular case, I would like to execute the one and only one to do from this file, but not today. I'm not going to demonstrate it for you on my phone, but believe me, I did already request this background task from the phone, and that's pretty cool. Whenever you go, you can ask to continue work with your code at your absence with this functionality of background. Background tasks. It could be done also through this inside the IDE itself, but I don't see the point. We can create multiple background tasks and focus on maybe active task with the active agent working, but why would we, right? So background task is needed when we not at the desk. Okay, let me check what we have. Yeah, planning hard, another task I have, but maybe I think I can call it a day because I look at the structure of the application and I have one of them. The ChatGPT have long story about this same project. It's already in a context, and I asked it. I didn't remember the acronym for the approach for the code, and it's replied to me. It's entity component system when we have information about ID only, and then we can have a separately visual part, separately physical part, and the visual and physical part change over time because for my application I need my entities on the screen to be dynamically changing. So one element on the screen at some point of time can disappear, just don't look, but doesn't display, but still being affected gravitationally or somewhat another way. And that's what I think this approach could be enhancing, and that's why I kind of prepared this new request for it. Don't look into these numbers, it can be solved separately. It will be solved separately with quad3 approach. And playground, it's one of my component. I can refer to it actually here. Let me fix mistakes. And yeah, I've explained it. So physics drag coefficient of this sort of object when it sits and belong to the exemplar of class, basically of my particles, and when the new physics object came, it should overwrite the existing properties to make it like a changing its status. So when I merge two different particles, it will change their property becoming something new. And that's what I'm definitely gonna make in the planning mode, because it's no joke, it's a hard task to switch to this new approach. Do we really even mention what the approach? Let me find ESC. No. Oh yeah. Huh. This likely. Yeah, I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned also the functionality that sometimes at the very beginning of the journey of the user, not every aspect and properties will be revealed to the user. User need to sort of research them. So I'm trying to make my elements first ready, and then I restrict access to certain properties based on current user place in the history line and based on his upgrades, etc. That's why I mentioned some elements there. Well, just let me drop it and keep it running. Maybe we're not gonna look on this ending today, and so I tried to say to you, I tried to half year ago do something in the coding part with those modern tools. The result wasn't great, as I said to you earlier with this example on my vibe coding prototype. So currently if we talk in terms, I do vibe code, but I still look in the code, so it's somewhat partially vibe coding. I'm doing agentic coding when I still keep an eye on what he's doing, and when he's doing something stupid, I'm asking to fix it. And maybe if it's easier to fix something, not on the plan but on the code itself, for example some CSS, so I can do it manually because it's quicker than burn a lot of tokens through that. But as you can see, since last time my 65% hasn't changed. Okay, and the questions come up. So the result wasn't great with those lovable and Firebase Studio. It looks good. I mean, the tool looks good, but not giving actual results. So I think right now it's good point to start any this kind of project before we will be overfilled with AI slop. So I decided I need to give it a try with the best model I can have in my access, and it turns out the Sonnet 4.5 appeared. It's someone said it's really good, and I've tried and with this fraction of a cost of this tool that's Cursor give to us. I think it's worth to use it. Most important, it's a context window. It's become bigger over time, so we can it with current approach. Maybe it's me. I'm like a 0.1x type of developer, and with this tool, it gave me boost my productivity like 5 times, and now I'm half of the actual developer, and I'm amazed with the result I have. But someone can wrote the same amount of code personally by hand. I'm appreciate that for somebody, but I can't do the same. And with this tool, agentic code, it will improve over time. So next year it will give me much greater results than right now. But the person who wrote this amount of code manually will still be on the same place where he is right now. So this is probably the better future vision of how we can hover in higher level of abstraction, the way how we code, in my opinion. So what I want to say, about this context window, we need to find a sweet spot balance to not being too bright, so I can't just took all my other project, like, or maybe you can use open your project with backend and frontend, turn it on together, so because they work in synchronization. I think it's really important to frontend know what the backend does and backend know what the frontend does, so it can refer to itself, but the repository is separated, and obviously for the context window it's really hard to just grab the whole code base and slap it there. It's that not gonna work because it will lose track easily, and not giving enough information is also not gonna work because it will lose track what actually needs to be done. But you will find your sweet spot, how many information you provided. But the approach, now I'm gonna probably work most of the time with planning mode, and work through that, and instead of the agentic mode only for real small tasks that I exactly know what need to be done, can explain on the fly and call it a day. So there are probably no need to telling you that there are no need, so we don't need to be sitting there and doing nothing in task paralysis. We don't need to stare at the blank paper, canvas, or file. Just go and start doing it. Now I think is the best time to do it. If you envision something, do it for yourself. Maybe I have plenty of ideas what could be cool to have on smartwatches, to make it in sync. Maybe I can dictate from smartwatches right inside here and get some results. That would be cool. But maybe most of these kind of ideas could be potentially solved with operational system itself, so it's not worth to even make it right now. But if it's cool little project for the weekends, I think it's good to make work and as a craftsmanship that people can appreciate, maybe share, maybe someone will see in you some good professional who know what he's doing, and it's never been easier than right now. Okay, thank you for your attention and bye.